Welcome! It's a day removed from Saturday the 25th of October 2025 as I record this, and that was the date that myself and my youngest daughter Alice Denise went to see the Lightning Seeds in concert. So the Lightning Seeds had added some extra dates to their Tomorrow's Here Today 35th anniversary tour. It was to promote a greatest hits album that they brought out, I think, about a year ago, and this was just some added dates onto this anniversary tour to celebrate their formation. So I am a Lightning Seeds fan, one of my favourite bands to an extent. You know, they're not up there in the top 10 or maybe even top 20, but I like them. I've got, I think, all their studio albums. I might be missing one that's only been out on CD. I've covered them in various videos and series on this channel in the past. But what really attracted me to this particular concert was how local it was, because this was a date, and it was the final date on the tour as well, held at the Winding Wheel Theatre in Chesterfield. A building I'm very familiar with. Obviously it's a town I'm certainly familiar with because it's my hometown. And it's quite unusual really, not unprecedented, but sort of big, well-known charting acts don't come to the Winding Wheel that often. It does happen, but really you get more sort of your tribute acts and companies doing like sort of songs from musicals and things. You get a fair few well-known stand-up comics do sets at the Winding Wheel, to be fair, but not so much with sort of equivalent music acts. And it's a theatre, but it's part of the same group of theatres as the Pomegranate, which is literally just round the corner from Winding Wheel. And that one, which I think has got a smaller capacity than Winding Wheel, that'll be where kind of your straight plays and pantomimes and things usually get held. But it can sort of differ and swap about. Anyway, a gig in Chesterfield for a band I'm a fan of, and I've been a fan of for many years now. Seemed too good to pass up when I heard about this early this year. So I booked a couple of tickets, and just knowing how local it was, you know, unlike previous gigs that I've been to over the past few years, obviously there's going to be no train travel or long coach journeys. You know, it's just going to be a bus into town, go and have something to eat, see the gig, and then jump in a taxi home. Couldn't be simpler really. So when I booked the tickets earlier this year, I asked Alice Denise if she wanted to come with me. I got two just because they weren't expensive, and I figured I'd find someone who'd want to come. And Alice was keen right away. She said, yeah, I'd like to go with you. I've not been to a concert or a gig with Alice Denise before. Of course, I did go with my eldest daughter Emily to see Cyndi Lauper in Birmingham back in February of this year. So it's nice to do something of a similar kind of thing, albeit much more straightforward and easy with my youngest as well. So on the Saturday, we caught the bus into Chesterfield at 5:30 from the village where we live. I don't really need to go into great detail over that. That is a bus journey that I've made countless times over the 45 years of me being on this planet. So got into Chesterfield about 6 o'clock, and we walked up towards where the Winding Wheel Theatre was, because about 4 doors down was a restaurant that I wanted to try. Well, like a bar restaurant really, called Einstein's, that specialise in German cuisines and German beers, obviously. I was really looking forward to eating there, but you know, this was the only downside really of the whole night. But it was very noisy and busy when we got in, and you know, we were fine with that really. Could have done with it being a bit quieter, but it was what it was. But there was just so little staff on. Like, there was staff at the bar obviously, and most of the tables seemed to be just drinking. There was a few dotted around who were eating meals, but really I think it was, and it being a Saturday night as well, you do expect it. You know, it was mostly people just out for a drink really. And we were just sat there sort of holding these menus for a while, and no one was coming to take our order. So I basically said to Alice Denise, I'll give it another 5 minutes or so, and if no one comes, then we'll go and get something at the chicken shop that we walked past on the way down here, because we saw that there was a few tables in there and it looked nice, and we could get served quickly. This, of course, would have been after 6:30 by this point, and the doors to the winding wheel for Lightning Seeds opened at 7, although the support act weren't due to come on till 8. So although time wasn't of the essence, I wasn't sure even if I'd gone up to order the food and drink at the bar at Einstein's, and I do hope I will get there someday because their menu looks amazing. But I thought even if I'd gone up to the bar to order everything, I don't know what with the minimal amount of staff they seem to be employing that evening, how long it'd be, and you know, I didn't want Alice especially to kind of feel that, you know, we were rushing and on the clock, as it were, even for the support act, let alone for Lightning Seeds themselves. So we ducked out of Einstein's and went to, I think it's Pepe's Peri Peri Chicken, for a really nice meal, to be honest. I had a lemon and herb peri peri chicken and rice box, which was very filling, and a drink. Alice had a peri peri chicken wrap, and we shared a few fries as well. Very nice, and would have been a lot cheaper than had we eaten at Einstein's, but that is a side issue really, an irrelevance almost, so I don't know why I'm bringing it up. It was nice just to sit somewhere just round the corner from the theatre, knowing that we weren't going to be worried about time. So by the time we'd finished dinner and we'd walked back to Holywell Street where Winding Wheel is, it was, I think, just a bit after 7:30. So the doors had been opened about half an hour or so, and we got in and people were milling about. Some people were sort of getting into the front auditorium section. Our seats were upstairs at the stalls. I'll talk about them more in a couple of minutes. Had to have his bags checked, very quick. Friendly staff at Winding Wheel, as they always are. Had a wristband just to show that we were at the concert, I suppose, if we needed to duck out of the building at any point. Had a look at the merch table. I don't know why, I wasn't expecting there to be a merch table, and there wasn't a lot on it, but you know, it was good that there was one. I suppose it's to be expected for a pop concert, a rock concert. You know, someone's going to be there selling merchandise. And there are a couple of Lightning Seeds LPs, one of which I'd got, and the other one I've got the album on mini disc. I've got a feeling there may have been a slightly bigger selection when the doors first opened, but maybe some people had bought them. And a few t-shirts. Alice bought herself and her sister Emily a couple of t-shirts, a black one for herself and a white one for Emily, although Emily of course wasn't at the gig. You know, she enjoys getting a t-shirt of someone else's experience. And I like the white one because it had all the 2025 tour dates on, so it's got Winding Wheel Chesterfield on the back, which I thought's a nice personalised sort of thing, really. So after Alice had got a couple of t-shirts, we walked up the stairs to the stalls area, I think it is. Winding Wheel is a pretty small place, as you'd kind of imagine, and it's not what I'd call a traditional music venue. I touched on that earlier on. But it was nice with the Lightning Seeds backdrop behind the stage, and you could see that the support act Casino, they'd got all their instruments and equipment set out ready for 8 o'clock. And there was another bar, as well as there being one downstairs, upstairs in that area. Bit of a queue, but the queue was going down quickly enough. So me and Alice queued up for a couple of coffees. Very nice coffee actually, like much better than I expected. And then we just sat in like a sort of tabled area. I think they classed it as the ballroom, which seemed a little bit hoity-toity, just for a kind of room with a few tables and chairs in it. But it was nice to just sit at a table and drink our coffees, really. And we could hear that Casino, the support act, had started, as by this point it was after 8 o'clock. While we're in no rush to particularly see all of them, I generally don't tend to worry too much about seeing all of the support acts, but I like to see a little bit when I go to a gig. So we finished our coffees, and then me and Alice went to find our seats so we could watch the rest of Casino's set. Great seats, right at the front of the balcony. I mean, I'm very familiar with Winding Wheel Theatre and how they do the seating plans and everything. All the chairs downstairs at the front auditorium had been taken out, so it was standing only, and Alice was technically too young to be in the standing section because you need to be 16 or over, and she's 15. but I wouldn't have wanted to go in the standing area anyway, so regardless whether Alice or anyone else would have come with me, or even if I'd gone on my own, I would have booked the same balcony seats for me anyway. Brilliant view in a small venue, so you're going to get a great view no matter where you are really, but right at the front of the balcony is, for me, just to the right of everything, was almost perfect really, I would say. We watched Casino. I don't know anything about them. The one thing I kind of could surmise from the lead singer's inter-song chit-chat was that they're probably from Liverpool or the Merseyside region. Here's a little bit of what I recorded of them. Yeah, a pleasant enough melodic indie pop band really. Don't know how long they've been going, don't know any information about them. If anyone watches this who is more familiar with Casino and their work, then do let me know in the comments and give me some recommendations as to what to check out. But it was, for what we really paid attention to once we'd found our seats at around 8:15 or whatever time it would have been, then yeah, decent support. So Lightning Seeds were due to come on at 9, so they were just playing some music over the PA until then, while the roadies were dismantling Casino's equipment and then setting up the Lightning Seeds stuff. And then at 9 o'clock, Ian Browdy and his band came on. Lightning Seeds, obviously very familiar band in this country. Don't know exactly how well they've travelled. I say travelled, but sort of been received abroad in like America or wherever. I imagine they've got a fairly good European audience, at least. Very well remembered and beloved band of the 1990s, particularly here in the UK. Ian Browdy had said during the gig, and it's unsurprising obviously, that this was the first time he'd played Chesterfield. We don't really get any big acts here in this part of the world, to be honest, now and again, and although it was quite some years ago, my dad did actually see Pink Floyd in Chesterfield, not at Winding Wheel or anything, at a building that's been since demolished, but he saw Pink Floyd, albeit back in, that would have been 1969, in Chesterfield, so they are probably, I would say, the biggest band to have ever played in this town. Lightning Seeds, yeah, of course they had a #1 a couple of times in the 1990s with 3 Lions. Before I go on to tell you my thoughts of the gig and the set, and to wrap this video up, here's about a 5 or 6 minute montage of clips that I'd managed to film of some of my favourite tracks by the Lightning Seeds.
Ignore slowly all your perfect lies lie back in the garden till it's light. The streets all fill up every night, and the people buzz around the lights. They're all waiting for a taxi that's driving by. Tomorrow's here today. Yesterday's today, just fade away. It's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming, football's coming home. It's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming, football's coming home. It's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming, football's coming home. Everyone seems to know the score. They've seen it all before. They just know, they're so sure. England's gonna blow it away, gonna blow it away, but I know they can play. 'Cause I remember 3 lines on a shirt, and Jules Rimet still gleaming, and all these years of hurt, they can never stop you dreaming. Night time slows, raindrops flash rainbows. I'm someone you know, they put sparkle and shine. 'Cause daydreams slide to color from shadow. Just picture the blue glow, it may dazzle your eyes. I'm smiling in the dark, shooting stars around your heart. These are bouncing in the air. You're a simple anytime. I'm crying in your sleep. And those of you that sell the dreams you should be big. You're a simple every time. In the Milky Way, I smile at the empty skies. I wait for the moment when a billion chances they all collide. So I'll be your guiding light, swing to me to the stars that shine down, call to the sleeping world as they fall to earth. Here's your eyes, find your way. We'll all be sailing blind, for I'm certain, nothing's certain. I don't mind, I get the feeling you'll be fine. I still believe that in this world we've got to find the time for the life of life.
So the greatest hits tour, the set, obviously all the heavy hitters really. I was going to say all killer, no filler. I mean maybe a little bit of, not filler, but just some deeper cuts. And one of the encore songs was a cover of Be My Baby, which was really nice actually. Enjoyed that a lot. But everything that I expected to hear and be performed was. Ian Browdy, very likeable frontman, you know, his banter is sort of relatable and kind of matey and like he's chatting to a friend or whatever, rather than being sort of all ego. You know, I wouldn't call it sort of charisma as such, you know, it's just got a kind of natural likability really, that just about kind of projects from the stage to the crowd. You know, he pulls it off really, whereas maybe other acts who are a bit quieter or a bit sort of less in your face, I suppose, it wouldn't really work and you'd come across being a little bit bland. It was a great concert. Alice, Denise enjoyed it. Visually wise, you know, in a small venue, no video screens, some nice light effects at time and a bit of a smoke machine going on sometimes. And of course the Lightning Seeds logo backdrop. But nothing overly elaborate, as I suppose finances and location dictates, really. Really glad I went. A pretty cheap night out, really. I think the tickets were around £30-something each, including booking fees, which, to see a charting act and one that I grew up with, one that I collect on vinyl and mini disc, it was certainly well worth going and well worth the money and then some, really. Fantastic night. Not the greatest gig ever. The band are just, you know, a 5-piece band. Lightning Seeds, really, it is a solo project, really. It's Ian Browdy plus whatever lineup he's got at that period in the career, really. One thing I did notice, and I'm sure it's the case, you know, if you've seen Lightning Seeds live 30 odd years ago or today, that they do sound more sort of harder edged and raw almost live, because one criticism that the Lightning Seeds did have directed at them sometimes during their 1990s heyday was that their albums and singles kind of sounded a bit overproduced at times. Now, I personally never really minded that. As a indie rock, indie pop band, it kind of set them apart from kind of contemporaries at the time, you know, baggy and then going into Britpop and everything. You know, they just had a slightly sort of sweetened sound, but they do sound more like a rockier indie act on stage, really, which is unsurprising because, you know, of production differences in the studio, of course. But I really enjoyed it. Alice really enjoyed it, which made me very happy. But, you know, she wanted a night out with her dad, and she'd been listening to some Lightning Seeds in preparation, I think on Apple Music, in the weeks leading up to the gig, and she was saying how much she enjoyed listening to those Lightning Seeds tracks. So, you know, she's become a bit of a fan, and that's great. I'll certainly be looking out for other Winding Wheel gigs. I mean, like I say, it is mostly comedians, musical tributes and other kind of cheesy tribute acts, with the odd play and exhibition thrown in. But I'm sure that won't be the last concert by a well-known and charting act that the Winding Wheel ever host. And if it's one that I'm a fan of, or I'm at least intrigued to see, then hopefully I'll get back there. Of course, really easy evening to plan and execute, really. We got out of the theatre at around just after 10:30. I went on the Vizu app to book a taxi home. That came almost instantly. Jumped in the taxi, really nippy 15-minute journey back home. So I was back here kind of 10 to 5 to 11 at night. Can't be bad considering I only left the house at 5:30 that evening. So that was my experience of seeing the Lightning Seeds in concert with Casino supporting at Winding Wheel in Chesterfield on the 25th of October. Thank you all for watching this. Hope you enjoyed it, and I do ramble on with these things, but I always like to try and cover the whole experience, really. Special thanks go to my wonderful subscribers and generous patrons. I'm going to go now, and please join me again next time, whenever that might be. Got no more gigs planned at the time of me recording, but I'm going to keep looking out, seeing who's going to be touring in 2026. It'll be now, obviously. And I do hope that all of you will join me again for my next concert experience video. Cheers, everyone. See ya!